A weekly talk show where Seth and Hashi bring him visual effects from movies and shows, then try to put them back together again.
Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Trying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me.
Welcome back to VFX and Chill, the show where we take apart modern day or olden day Hollywood blockbusters. And no, we don't take apart the blockbusters. We take apart the visual effects shots within all of us. With me as always. Oh, by the way, I'm Seth, and with me as always is my pal Hashi. And
what's up, everybody?
And over there is Michael.
Hello to all of the channels we are streaming to today. I believe that we are streaming to Action Movie Kids again, and to all of the lovely Maxon channels and Red Giant channels.
This goes out to all the lovely Maxon channels. Literally goes out to them. We are broadcasting to them.
We're broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube for Red Giant. We're on Maxon and Maxon Training Team and Action Movie Kids. We got a good, almost the majority is on Action Movie Kids this week.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming.
You're welcome. Now, that's me saying that to everyone watching this. You're welcome, because we have a very, very fun show planned for today. Hashi, do you want to, Hashi, what are we doing on the show today?
Well, I had heard that there was a little movie called Dungeons v. Dragons or something like that.
Dungeons versus Dragons. That's right, everybody. They are squaring off together against each other.
Finally.
And, the dungeons,
it's
a little
battle
slow.
We've all been waiting for VFX Royale.
Yes, buildings and structures versus creatures. That's what we are going for. Now, before we get to that, Hash, I would love to... we just watched a very funny intro that you sprung on Michael and I last second. How long did it take you to make that? And how deep do you want to dive into that before we dive into some Dungeons and Dragons stuff?
I mean, it took me less than 27 hours to make.
That's pretty good.
I actually made this live yesterday while I was on on Ask the Trainer special edition.
Can I go to you?
Which
by the way? Can I
went
go to your
for
screen?
3 hours.
Can I go to your screen? Is that cool?
Oh, go for it.
All right.
Because this is what you want to see when you log in to when you open up something. So this is our lovely happy-go-lucky person who is singing. What I'm actually doing right now is I'm trying to add some little dissolving particles, so it looks like he's kind of Alka-Seltzering inside here. Because
Alka-Seltzering as a verb that happens to someone is just horrifying.
It is horrifying. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. And
what a load of pain it is.
That's it. That's the one. So anyway, we are obviously covering Dungeons and Dragons, as you may have seen in the description. And while I am familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, as it is a very popular over a long period of time kind of thing, I'm not super familiar with it. But I do know that it has gelatinous cubes in it. And boy, was I interested in trying to figure out how to make a gelatinous cube of sorts. Now, I believe the premise of these is that you get sucked in and it dissolves everything except your armor. So like all of your organic matter dissolves away. I don't know how quickly, but I do know that it was featured in the trailer for this new movie that is coming out. I'm not entirely sure when that's coming out.
I think it's
Or it came out.
this weekend. Like it either came out last weekend or it comes out today. I'm not sure.
You may have seen it. Amazing.
You very well
Yeah,
might.
James
I want
is
to
in
see
the
it.
Dungeons and
I've heard
Dragons
lots
group.
of good things about it. I'm really excited to see it. Plus, it's got Chris Pine in it, and I know some people in the world
my
do
God.
like that chap.
Some people like us.
We love Chris Pine. I wish he were mine. He's always on my mind, Chris Pine. I wanna have you, baby.
That is the truest drop we've ever made and the most authentic.
It is.
And dear
speaks
to our
from
hearts.
speaks and sings from the heart. It is really nice of the weekend to come in over the weekend and record that for
At
us.
the time when you know he's busy. I am very excited about Dungeons and Dragons. It's from the team behind Game Night, and I believe this duo also did at least a draft of Spider-Man: Homecoming. But Game Night is brilliant, and from what I understand, I think it's a writer-director team, and one of them is John Francis Daly, who played Sam Weir on Freaks and Geeks, and
Hey,
he's brilliant.
That's a nerdy show.
It is a very nerdy show and an awesome show. And I think if you go on Twitter, I think you and I both retweeted a very funny thing of theirs. But anyway, this cube thing is so friggin' fun.
So this cube thing came together in a pretty fun way. So let me see if I can take you all through it. I'm going to open up my Cinema 4D over here. And let me see what the oldest version of this I had was, because Zombie Soldier, I think, is what it started out as. So somewhere around maybe here. Let's see here we go. So as you have seen on some of our streams of late, I am now obsessed with Moves by Maxon driving animation. It's so fun. So let's see. I don't remember if I can move myself or if it's going to start moving the head. Oh, it's going to disconnect the head. Oh, with the dynamic helmet there. So I am using my loose knowledge of, let's see. Maybe I can make an instance of that. And then I can move that up here. Here we go. Oh, the instance isn't copying the facial expressions for some reason. What's up with that? Oh, it is. All right. So last episode, I believe, was it our very last episode that we went over this process? Because it's all we've been doing, the two of us, like in our, it is.
I guess what I know is that every day at work, we are either doing this or we're doing like physics stuff in cinema. Like this is literally the stuff that makes up our dreams right now.
It really is. So I'm using.
Why is your face not on there in the final render?
Say again?
Why did you not keep your face in the final render? I really wish.
I should have, and then I could have just slowly dissolved it over time into this one. I didn't even think about that, actually. So let's see if we can line these up in here. They should line up. They're constrained to each other. So yeah, obviously we have learned this very bizarre ability to drive animation of whatever prop we want using facial capture from the Moves by Maxon phone app, which is exciting. And it gives us this nice little mesh. And to summarize what we did, when you click on the Moves by Maxon face right here, there are blend shapes for all of these different things that a face can do. Blinks and mouth moving around and stuff like that. And it can all get translated to something else. It does that via blend shapes. And yesterday, I wanted to kind of figure out how quickly I could set up a facial rig that worked with Moves by Maxon. And I have this nice setup espresso thing right here, which we talked about last week, which is basically how you do expressioning in Cinema 4D. You can link properties of one object to another object. So basically I'm taking all of this data from the face, and not very many. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I linked 12 things, which means that I had to make 12 blend shapes for this face here. And it turns out that making blend shapes is not at all as hard as I thought it would be when I knew that. Let's see. Oh, yes, let's change those to absolute paths. I'm going to copy over my face for a moment. Not my face, but my skeleton face. And I'm going to delete all of this stuff from it and just bring up this. I'm sorry, children. This is a little bit spooky, Halloween spooky. But we've got this face right here, and this is sort of its default pose. And what you can do with any object like this is you can go to rigging tags, pose morph, and then right under here, you can go and say, I want to animate the points.
For those who are interested in seeing a more full breakdown of what Hashi's doing now, we in this episode last week, after this stream is done, the link is in the chat to watch last week's episode. And I do want to point out, while I've already interrupted you, the chat very much enjoyed the Chris Pine episode. In fact, Chris Veranos thinks it may be the drop may be a contender to dethrone CC ball action, but Jason Murphy says nothing can dethrone it.
Let's watch them back to back.
But there's quite a lot of love for Chris Pine in the chat.
Well, let's watch them back to back just to be sure which one's the best, right? So here we'll do
CC ball action.
And then
We love Chris Pine. I wish he were mine. He's always on my mind, Chris Pine.
I think we need to watch it one more time.
CC ball action.
Okay, and then Chris.
We love Chris Pine. I wish he were mine. He's always on my mind, Chris Pine.
We could also watch them at the same time.
We love Chris Pine. I wish he were mine. He's always on my mind, Chris.
All right. Sorry. Continue with the learning.
That was exciting. Not a lot of people know that the CC in CC ball action stands for Chris Pine. They just typed it wrong.
It's true.
We love Chris Pine.
So we should go back to what you're doing, Hashi. And Todd Vaziri says, let's throw that old football around. So let's do it.
Todd, text Todd that link.
Yeah, here we go.
You have that one link, right? I won't say it out loud so I don't get the stream darn hacked again. But
getting things hacked.
Yeah, so check out how easy this is.
Pippy Pop is asking, is that Seth singing Pretending to Be the Weeknd, Hashi?
I feel like he embodies it. I don't think he pretends.
I never pretend.
Is that a yes? That is Seth singing like The Weeknd?
It's not. All I know is it just arrives fully formed and finished.
It arrives. We talk to his people, and they see what they can do.
It's definitely not an AI generated anything.
Definitely not. So I saved this little guy just as a little reference for myself of all of the shapes that you could use to get an expressive face animated. And here is one tip that I didn't know last week, and then I promise I'll move on quickly. But basically, once you've done those two things, added the pose morph, said that you're using points, and then you get this little menu. You can see there's a base pose, which is just this, and then you can add poses just by pressing add pose. And look at this really fun thing that I learned the other day. If you are on the mesh for this, you can use the mesh brush tools, which are all right here. I've pinned them up here to my specific interface because I love them. But like one of them is eyebrows middle up. So I can just go to the eyebrows and middle up. And then you just go back to this thing and rename it that. And it's best to like name them the same thing every time. Brow middle up. So now this is on a slider, and look at that. You can raise the middle of the eyebrows. Pretty cool. But then I learned a great time-saving technique, which is I could then go over and say, I know another one is like eyebrow up, like that. And so I can, I guess I should add a pose, and then eyebrow up. Very neat. And then we'll call that eyebrow up. I'm not going to type it. Right, because that's on the right side. And
of the character, yes.
You can go right here, copy one of these, paste it right to the same thing. Then I'll rename this one left. And then I'll right-click on it here and say flip, in this case, Z. Look at that.
Ooh, that's a great tip. Holy crap, Hashi.
So you can do this with all of these. And so now I have a right up and I have this thing. And the best thing about having set it up even once in Espresso is that there is a Moves by Maxon Espresso helper, if you want. Michael, you figured out how to do that last time, where you can, where was it? Extra data? No. Object. I forget what it was. Anyway, there's an easy way in the last episode to send over your Moves by Maxon thing here with all of these lovely ports ready. And then if you name your pose morphs the same thing, you can just link them right up to each other. And now if I always do that with models, all I would have to do is drag in a new performance capture Moves by Maxon, and it'll replace this one and any model that I have the pose morph tag on, and drag that here if I've named them the same thing, and they'll stay linked up so I don't have to do all of this business again. So it was very quick to just do this, and I only did 12 shapes, and you saw how quick it was to make 3.
Nicely done.
That's what I got.
Well, that's it for the show today. No, just kidding. Hush, let's talk about some Dungeons and Dragons, shall we?
We should.
So I think I've got these clips here. I've got the trailer. Ooh, let me turn all this crap down. I've got the both trailers here to look through. Well,
Ooh, exciting. I forgot to export. I had saved all the clips of the relevant things.
No, that's okay. But I forgot to check with you. Are we going to be choosing are we doing the things that we were going to do?
Well, it's so hard to decide because we talked about so many different things that we could do. I mean, do you want to just play through some of them? We can talk about how many types of effects are on this. It's a big effects movie.
What I'm getting at is, are we planning to select them the way we were originally going to select them?
Well, I don't think that would be fair, or random. And so while we're on this particular subject, I thought it might be helpful to have just a more efficient way to grab this data. And if you want to go to my screen,
yeah,
we have assigned all of the effects that we might cover today to this lovely set of dice. And I'll have you know that I can select all of these dies right here. I said it not the plural way right just then. I'm gonna go to my rotate tool with per object transform. And
dying.
Seth,
yeah,
would you like to try your luck at a roll of the dice?
You know that I wake up every day looking to roll my luck with the roll of the dice.
Perfect. I love it. And we have we texted.
Key? I've got my key.
Have we texted Vaziri?
Hey, Vaziri in the chat. I've got it written down over here, like basically what each of the codes mean for shots. So,
perfect.
Yeah, you'll just have to trust us that it's real.
So we're going to use the physics, the bullet physics right here, bullet dynamics, and this should be very exciting. Are we ready?
Almost. Hold on one second.
All right. So because it's a physics sim, just by rotating these around at the beginning, they're going to fall into this catapult, and this catapult is going to cast these dice for us. And I have Darren Frankowitz, again, to thank for walking me through some really cool stuff in the way that this project is set up. Because the cameraman, well, I've got to cut to this just because it's very cool. There is actually a cameraman that's in here who is going to film the action. I didn't even know this existed in Cinema 4D. It's just a thing. It's a tag. It's a camera operator, and we told him what is important.
And it's simply just a motion camera, right? If you create a motion camera, it comes with the guy for free.
It does.
Or girl. Or girl. Sorry.
So from afar here, I'll play, and you can see that it flips the dice up in the air, and the cameraman is on it, which is really cool. Camera person is on it. So let's go to their view right here, back to frame 0, and you have that list of the how many was it in the end? Like 67 effects?
Yes, several VFX shots, all awesome, incredibly awesome and exciting ones. Real quick, just to give people an idea, we went through all of the effects in this trailer and we wrote down a list, including this awesome wizardy stuff here with this cool volumetric stuff.
I love that awesome wizardy stuff. Yes.
We've got portal-y kind of effect thing going on here. We've got
gorgeous.
I mean, literally every shot here has some kind of incredibly impressive.
This whole sequence looks like darker colors.
Wait, this whole sequence or this whole sequence?
I hadn't thought about this whole sequence. Yes, it's very good. I didn't want to let that go by. This does look like darker colors. It's amazing, Michael. Thank you. Yeah, literally everywhere you look in this trailer, there's some really rad VFX look at that to want to recreate. So
in the chat, first of all, if you are, if you're feeling lucky and you want to, start campaigning for any specific effect in here, feel free to do that in the chat, and Michael will help bring that to
Michael
light.
will shout it into the void, and it's for us to ignore and do what we want to do. Now, here's the gelatinous cube.
See, that gelatinous cube is very clear. Most of the artwork of them is a little bit green. I tried to split the difference somewhere.
Split that diff.
I also had some Sophia help compositing that one.
Green flame sword. Pretty great.
Ooh, green flame sword.
I want to see the green flame sword. That's what I'm rooting for. A guest boy in the chat is guessing that the dice will be 5, 10, 3, 4, 7, and 6. So,
what?
Look at that. That ruled.
Whoa. Look at that. Weather effects.
I can't wait to watch this movie.
There's so many cool things. And these are all like as one-offs, they're all kind of aside from like massive CG creature effects, like they're all like kind of cool, like magic and fun effects. If you ever want to see an overview of similar types of things, you can watch the Cheap Tricks series on Game of Thrones, which was overpowered. It was OP, as they say in the they say
I knew
all
what
over.
You were talking about. Did not have not. I don't have friends to play Dungeons and Dragons with. I want to play, but hope to be part of a group of friends one day. Now, Hashi, will you please do me the honors and roll my dice for me?
I will. And cha-chink. They're loaded in. Watoom. They're up. They're away.
Look at that.
They're landing.
Look at that camera.
They're landing. Oh, they're going to land in there. Perfect.
What did we get?
We got. Oh man, it's exactly what that dude
Pause
guessed.
it before it resets.
Exactly what he guessed. Looking down.
Exactly what he guessed.
Remembering exactly what that number was, it appears that I will be doing the green.
I've reset it. Sorry.
It's okay. It appears that I will be doing the green sword effect because I perfectly remembered that.
You know that I didn't know that was a green flame sword after watching the trailer.
Oh, crap. You didn't? That's too bad.
So I didn't until you were like, can you color these things? And I was like, why would you want to color that? It's the default value, like color value. So one thing I did try, if you want to, I think I might have saved it over here.
Real quick, just going to this green sword so everyone knows which one we're talking about. There's actually, I think there was a shot in the other trailer let's see, that's in this trailer with a green sword. Was that the one I was just looking at? Are these all the same? There was like a close-up green sword effect.
Let's see. I should find my clips.
Oh, it's okay. I think I found the other.
Out jogging pictures in the chat says, have you seen the deleted scene from the original Dungeons and Dragons movie where it's just the stick and tracking markers and the actor? And they say that we should add our own effects to that clip.
Okay.
Funny you should mention that.
Yeah. Look, you're going to need you guys to stop thinking.
I've seen this show before.
We're going to need you guys to stop thinking and saying things so that we can keep surprising you.
Well, first of all, it would be like we have to roll for it. We have to be fair. So.
By the way, here's that close-up of that green sword.
There it is. That's great.
So I'm going to try that today, which I didn't know ahead of time. Definitely didn't plan this.
This looks like that Mad Max character got slightly healthier and is
then went a different
best way.
Roll for yourself, since we know it's a reliable and real.
Okay, here we go. Let me roll for. Oh, two of them are intersecting. That's bad on the Axis part, but luckily they're going into a bullet sim, so it should be fine. And action. They're up. They're away. Oh, I think one might have missed. Wait, here it comes. One is stuck on the stairs. What do we count that as? Do we have that written down as an option? What does that translate to, Seth?
Oh, did you run it again?
I'm running it again. I think it's the same, though. Yeah, one's caught on the stairs.
Hashi, you are doing... I can't read this. Can you read this from far away from where you are? What did that say?
Is it in the thing?
No.
Dude, it's it's adding effects to that trailer.
Wait, only you're doing
trailer,
that.
that
I thought we were
deleted
both
scene.
doing that.
I read that so improperly.
Well, that works for me. I'm going to join in yours selfishly. Is that okay? I'll do some quick sword fire.
That.
But
sword fire. Go get an asset from Action VFX. Throw it on there.
Why don't you download that deleted scene, cut that up into some clips, get that whole thing prepped, and I'll jump into cinema and do some of the stuff, the things.
That sounds good. Do you have stuff that you can show right away, or do you need a moment, Seth?
No, I definitely got stuff. Why? But you got something that's more fun?
I did want to mention that the reason that I had time to make this ridiculous skeleton the other day was because I was on a stream yesterday, a very special Ask the Trainer episode where we talked about all of the amazing new things that we released, we being Maxon, on Wednesday. There are updates for Cinema 4D, Forgers, VFX,
can I talk about
Trap Code. Oh, please do, Michael, because I only talked about one thing for 10 minutes of the 3 hours.
No, I'm very excited about it. It's a big update, and it covers every piece of software that Maxon makes. Cinema 4D got a new commander, which is really cool. For those who don't know, the commander in Cinema 4D, you just hit Shift-C and type whatever you want, and it would pull up commands. Well, now it doesn't just pull up commands. It also pulls up all the stuff you might have in your asset browser, stuff that you've tagged yourself or stuff that's just in there, and a bunch of other things. You can filter stuff out, add redshift materials, pull in stuff like capsules like the backdrop primitive. So if you ever want just like a nice curved backdrop, you just type backdrop and there it is. So if you're in Cinema 4D, Shift-C, and it depends on where your mouse is too. So so if you're in the Object Manager versus the Material Manager, it'll pop up. It'll make different options bubble to the top for you, so it makes work a lot faster. They've also got a new thicken generator, which works way better than the cloth thing that people used to do to add thickness to stuff. Like you actually have a lot more control. There's a lot more options, and it actually works better for the majority of what people would want to use it for, besides cloth, of course. There's also a better node UI for working with redshift materials or scene nodes. Some very, very, very requested features for redshift nodes. You can pop out an attribute panel on the side, which people have been missing in the new nodes. And the simulation system, like Pyro, now supports color and vertex maps for stuff, Maxon noise, so you can get more organic distribution of fire, and some other stuff like that. Also looks prettier in the viewport, which is nice. Now, moving away from Cinema 4D and into the world of Red Giant, Universe got a new tool called Symbol Mapper, which is really cool. It like maps letters, numbers, symbols to your video, kind of rebuilds your video file out of symbols, so thus the term Symbol Mapper. Also a little update on the dashboard, and presets can now be downloaded from the cloud, so Maxon can start delivering presets to you without having to bloat the install, because Universe is one of the biggest install files for Red Giant because it's got so many presets in it. And there's a bunch of new presets included in the cloud now, so you can just download them. A VFX Suite is a big one, though, especially for this show. A VFX Suite is a collection of tools for making visual effects, and two of the tools in VFX Suite got big updates. One of my favorite things is real lens flares, and it now has anamorphic lenses, including which drives everything from the schmutz on the lens to the Spartarber. Everything now can be anamorphic. So those of you who are working on big budget films and want the most realistic lens flares digitally added, and you've got an anamorphic lens that you've been shooting with, you're welcome. And everyone who wants to make their cheap iPhone films look like their big budget movies, you are also welcome. Supercomp also got a big update, now has adjustment layers, so you can add in shadows and more effects for your displacement layers and other things like that. So it's very handy. Trap Code got some new sprites looking like mid-century Atomic Age designs, but my favorite thing about the Trap Code update besides all the bug fixes and such, is up to three times faster render times when you're using light emitters. I saw a scene. Yeah, I saw a scene someone made with like 30 different lights in it, and it's 3 times faster rendering, which is nice. Magic Bullet, which is the color grading and film effects, like to make it look like you're shooting on film tool. Magic Bullet has new strength sliders on pretty much every tool, which actually work now and are tied into the main effect sliders. Before, if you had like lens distortions or like chromatic aberration or edge blurs, stuff like that on there, if you used a strength slider, it would just kind of like fade over top of your original footage, which did not look great because then you just have kind of these two ghosty things if you're using the lens distortions. But now it actually fades the whole effect down, so it's actually useful. And some more presets that take advantage of the ACES color handling. And those of you who render in Redshift, there's some nice new features. There's a new Flakes shader, which is for like doing car paint, stuff like that. Also very handy. Yeah. Also really cool for adding those little specks of shine in asphalt. That's not something they mention a lot in the promo materials, but very handy if you're doing roads and such. For folks working with custom backplates, there's now custom backplates in Redshift for Cinema 4D. And my favorite thing in the new Redshift is they have a new sky model. The old sky model, if you had the sun like right down towards the horizon, it was too green. Like the math just wasn't right. They've got a whole new sky model algorithm in there, the PRG Clear Sky, which is beautiful. Gives you those gorgeous red sunsets when the sun's down by the horizon.
Oh, that's so cool. Because I've always been confused about that, because like sunset goes like yellow and orangish, but it comes from a blue sky, but I feel like green sky isn't a thing. So I don't even know how that happens. Like my
sky is
preschool
blue because
brain is so mad.
I forgot to mention the balloon maps. Oh, and the symmetry object in Cinema 4D. In Cinema 4D's cloth simulation, you can set it to balloon, which gives it pressure, and you can overpressurize and underpressurize and suck your models all, make it all kinds of fun shapes. Now they support vertex maps, so you can drive it with fields and stuff, which I love doing stuff with fields. And the symmetry generator, it now supports the new symmetry tool that was added to Cinema 4D, like amazing for modeling. Well, now all that power is now in the symmetry generator, so you can do really cool MoGraphy stuff just by setting it into radial symmetry mode and moving your models in and out of it. It's there's so many good stuff in this update. I will be putting a link in the chat shortly to a full page of info about all of that stuff. I just feel like a video is worth 1,000 descriptions. This is an amazing demonstration video by Nirad, who's actually Darren Frankowitz, who teaches me most of the stuff that I spout off on the show as a repeat.
Both of us.
Like Noseman does it one week, and then Darren will the other week, and I'm here just as a conduit to like master trainer Maxon. I am not.
Anything that we do correctly,
Maxon.
Anything we do correctly on the show involving Cinema 4D is probably owed to Darren.
That's true. And is there anything more correct than this? Darren, this is phenomenal. So yeah, go do that.
Go do that.
And in fact, the slime or whatever it's called, the gelatinous cube that I'm using was using the cloth dynamics it's actually a cloth cube that is slightly overpressured and bounces around, and it's so much fun, and that's so quick to do.
So do you
still analyzing clips over here, man?
Still analyzing clips. So while I guess you're doing that, you don't want to show some Supercomp stuff. We'll do that later on in the show. For now, maybe I'll just dive right in and start messing with some fire here. So I've got this. Oh no! Whoops! Hang on. Trying to go to the bottom of the screen without launching the dock, so I can bring this up. Okay, so. I've got this sword here I got off Sketchfab, which I should probably remember who. I have to attribute this by the end of the episode to the artist. Here,
I'll take a peek.
Take a peek. This is called... Wow, I downloaded lots of things today. Sword of the Defeated.
Sword of the Defeated.
Why would you name your sword that if you were getting ready to go into battle?
I don't know.
Maybe it was named that afterward.
Yeah, it feels like a post-battle naming situation. Then it gets redeemed later. All I know is that it spoke to me, Sword of the Defeated. So I'm going to put some green flames on this sword. So I'm going to actually, just so I'm not messing with this original.
That model is by Bunny.
Thanks, Bunny. So
Thanks, Bunny.
I'm going to copy and paste it into this project file that I've already got going. And I'm going to go ahead and drop it into a null object and work with this null object. I'm going to rotate this thing around so it's facing me. Now, I should probably go ahead and convert, make sure, put this stuff to everything to redshift. Well, now I'll do some of the flames first. So I believe there should be a saved selection here of the actual blade.
Perfect.
But I actually am going to, I don't want this part of the blade. I just want this, like, I don't want the part right by the hilt. So
that would hurt your hands.
You would. So I'm going to lasso this part here. Oh, hang on. Doobity-dop-dop-doo. That's good. And now I'm going to actually, because I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this is how I'm doing it. I'm going to go to Mesh, Clone, and Split, and I'm going to drop it right back into itself. So you'll see I've got this version here, which is just the part that I want to be lighting on fire.
You should probably name things so it's easier for you to see what's happening.
Totally. Flame blade.
Flame blade.
Sword. Now the sword still has the blade on it. The flame blade just has the flame blade, just the blade. Because Pyro, as we all know, is like shockingly easy to get started on, I'm going to add a Pyro emitter simulation tag to the flame blade, and it immediately creates a Pyro output object. And if I real quick just deselect, why is it showing me?
Get out of polygon mode and into model mode.
Thank you, buddy. That's what I'm looking for. I'm just going to hit play, and immediately my blade is on. This blade is on fire. So
this blade is on fire.
There it is. Thank you. And that's because today I'm working with fire. Okay, so this looks awesome. I mean,
if you're in object mode while you're playing, you can grab the sword and
he could super grab the null object and rotate it around while it's.
I need people on this show to stop telling us to do things we're planning to do. It's really, really, really bugging me today. So,
but I'm on the show.
First, yeah, you're right. You're on the show. I'll allow it from you guys. But if any one of those comments suggested I spin this sword around, they can just stay here and keep watching because we need the analytics.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to create a new null. I'm going to drop the null into this null, and I'm going to use this to spin this around. And the reason is because I am just going to layer this thing in a bunch of nulls. And here's why. First, let me turn off. Let me disable. What am I talking about?
Disenablemate.
So this null, I'm going to animate to spin around. So I'm going to go here and nope, it's not that one. It's that axis. So I'm going to keyframe. Honestly, I didn't need to do that. I could have just clicked the keyframe guy here, but I'm going to go to the end and I'll just type, let's actually do 720, or maybe that might actually spin the wrong direction. Oh, not in automatic keyframe mode. No, that's the right direction. Okay. So that's going to spin that many times, and I'm going to add a new null, and I'll label these at some point. Drop that into here, and now I'm going to set this one to, let me think about this. As it's spinning, let's go to the last frame, and which axis is this? That one, okay. 360. Boom. And now let's see how this is spinning. That should be fun. And although I'm kind of wondering, should I have done the other? Let me see. Let me go to the first frame. I'm bad at the thing you're really good at, Hashi, which is narrating what I'm doing as I'm doing it.
And unfortunately, I can't extend that to describing what you're doing well. Let's see. So right now, we're going to rotate this object around the center, just doing some...
No, it's okay. It's okay, buddy. You don't have to work for me. So now let's turn the pyro back on and see what it looks like. And what it looks like is fun.
Oh my gosh.
Now, a couple things I want to do here.
I was
quick.
going to say turn the density off because this magical fire has no smoke.
Listen to me. Stop talking, Michael. Let me teach. I don't know why I'm getting so annoyed today. So here in the tag, I can go and turn off density, like you said, and do just fire. The other thing I want to do is if I turn the density back on, you can see the trail it's leaving has a little bit of, like, not gravity technically, a little bit of velocity where it's floating upward, negative gravity. It's a little bit of that going on. But I really want it to, I want this velocity to come from the motion, much like one does in Tropical Particular and or real life.
Also, like if you're thinking of the like miniature work and in the olden days, whenever something happens or a truck gets hit or something, and that dust that comes off of it, you could totally add a quick pyro layer to stuff with just some very low temperature particles that shake off the front, and it'll look like a little Fuller's Earth.
100%. So real quick, I'm gonna add on velocity. I'm keeping it set to movement, and I'm gonna hit. Let's do 300. Why not? So now as it spins, it should be flinging the. You see the density is, and like everything's moving in the direction at which it's like being flung a lot more than it was before. Which I think is very cool. I might actually even add more. That's not even as high as I feel like I got it yesterday. 600.
Whoa.
Now it's traveling with the sword really nicely. All right, so I'm going to, the thing is, if I go to render this, it's not there. And why is it not there?
Why not?
Because it's weird, and that's okay. Cinema is weird. Cinema 4D is weird.
This is an episode celebrating the freakiness and geekiness of everybody.
100%. So what you have to do is you have to give it. It's not being shaded. It doesn't have like a material. I don't know how to explain. Here's the deal, Michael. You can explain why it's not working while I go and do what needs to be done. Actually, go ahead and explain why it's not working, and then I'll do what needs to be done.
No problem. There's nothing there. Is why it's not working. All pyro is heat and density, like heat and smoke, but there's no material on it.
Boom.
So there's nothing for Cinema 4D to render.
That's like if you've ever tried to take a fire and put it in your backpack to save for later on a camping trip. There's nothing to grab onto.
Because you're dead. Don't do that with fire.
Don't go camping.
So what I need to do is I need to first off go into my render settings and change my renderer to redshift.
Now render it and see what happens.
And now if I render it, it still shouldn't show. Well, first off, I need to now go to my redshift. Where is? Hang on. I used to know where it was. RS render view is fun to do. Drop that right here. And if I render this, you'll see it's still not kicking out any fire because it doesn't have any material on it.
Still no fire.
So what I need to do is, why is that all the way over here? I need to create, if I go to create, redshift, materials, pyro volume, drag and drop that onto the pyro output.
Drag and drop.
Should it work now? Nope. Here's why. We're going to go into here. First go to the pyro output and go to object. And we really just need density on and temperature. We don't need density, do we, Michael? Whoa, What's happening there? That's new.
That's fun.
Ooh, nice. That's called the sharing your screen on a
Sharing a screen on the live stream.
Yep.
Fun times.
That's all right. If I go to object, I'm going to temperature on and then color because I want to.
You're gonna be putting green on it, yeah.
Yeah. So color's on, and velocity.
Nah, you shouldn't.
Cool. So now that I've done that, I believe we should see something we render. Maybe not. I forgot. Next, we have to go into the... Well, first off, we go into the... I'm forgetting, Michael, what I need to do to be able to have it show up.
Geez. It's been forever since I've done this.
Well, hold on.
I mean, generally speaking, it's a good idea to cache your sim first before you start working in Redshift, because the sim and Redshift are both going to be fighting for your GPU resources.
That's true. However, I still don't understand why I'm not seeing...
Let's see. Density on fuel.
It's very strange.
Density.
I'm missing one step that I totally... Oh, my gosh.
Oh, draw.
Darren Frankovitz in the chat says density color temp on and set color where wanted in pyro volume. There you go.
Oh, density needs to be on.
Thank you, Darren.
Thanks, Darren.
Everyone go follow Darren on Twitter. It's Darren backwards. Nirad.
I kind of want to get out of here, Viewport. You're freaking me out. So if I remember correctly now, when we go into this, into the attributes of this material,
if you want to change the color, you can do that from the pyro tag, I believe.
You can. However, you can also do it here. If you go into emission, so here's what I figured out. Yesterday, I learned you can change the color of the density in here by, let's turn this to green. Trying to remember, I really just clicked around until something broke.
Now there is a lovely tutorial.
That is an official way to use Cinema 4D, by the way.
Yes, click around until something breaks. Now I think I've seen people do is go here and change the emission channel to no, not density, to density, and I don't remember why that did something. This is the episode where Seth teaches you how to do things he doesn't know how to do.
You must have had there's got to be some Oblivion cast spell forgetfulness, right?
Sure.
I don't know. I know all the...
Ooh, there's
so
something.
Cool.
Color ramp.
I feel so uncool not knowing some good D&D terminology right now.
So if I mess with this color ramp, I don't know what I'm creating here. It's certainly something. That's
the way every James Cameron movie starts.
There's a very cool tutorial from Aaron Rabinowitz on how to make magical glowing pyro effects. Up and coming tutorial maker Aaron Rabinowitz, who
though unfortunately, he also passed away in 4 years ago too.
According to ChatGPT.
It's a shame. It's a shame. So,
but no, he put a good magical pyro effects tutorial. So again, another link for you to copy into your little notes pad that you keep up for when you're watching the show, for something to watch later. Best is asking, is it possible to export pyro into VDB animation? Yes, when you cache it, that is exactly what it's making.
Yes,
so as soon as you hit that little cache button, it saves the VDB out. So you can use it in your games or
and you do that
other
here
things.
By clicking cache scene or whatever.
Your games and your rock and roll records.
It'll be a huge VDB sequence. Like the file size is pretty massive. A fun thing to do, by the way, is let's create real quick. Let's do I don't know what I made happen here. I was able to make really cool. You know what? Let me show you. I still can't figure out how to properly color the fire. I only just saw you put in the Slack Aaron's tutorial, which I hadn't seen, and it looks like it does exactly what I need to do here.
So let Aaron.
I'll let him teach you guys, but real quick, I'll show you something cool that I was able to make yesterday, which if I go back in here, change this back to temperature and try and get things back to the way they were.
Now, Michael, let us know if anyone in the chat is
screaming at us.
Screaming at us about anything.
No one has mentioned any issues so far, except for Justin Leduc said if he hears any more of those text message notifications from Seth, and making him think that he's got messages, then he will leave the chat immediately.
They should have stopped a while ago.
It did. That was just from way earlier. I just have a better memory now. Justin Leduc also says that they hope Aaron doesn't hear this, nor would they ever tell him this. But Aaron's a great guy and an amazing artist, which is true. And
never say it to his
let's
face.
see who else. Someone else said something in the chat. Oh, Thomas Holmes says, really enjoyed my Power Glove tutorial. Then that they got a lot of it. You're welcome, Thomas, for those who have not seen it. And yet another link in the chat for you to keep note of. The Power Glove recreation tutorial link is in the chat. It's a very synth-wavy, cool thing from the band Power Glove, and I showed how to make it on the Red Giant YouTube channel.
It's so slick, man. It looks really great.
It's like it's very short. It's like 6 minutes, less than 7 minutes.
Very digestible, but it taught me a bunch of stuff about paths that I had no idea. Like, I don't usually get into shape layers and stuff, but realizing that you could layer it up like that is so cool.
It's such a fast technique.
Okay, so let me add so I went and I turned it in the tag. I turned temperature off. The color, what I found is in the tag, when you change the color, it changes the density color, but not the temperature color, which to achieve the Dungeons and Dragons, like the green sword from the trailer, you want to be able to color the fire and no smoke, right? Which, again, Aaron gets into in his tutorial and does it very, very well. And I unfortunately didn't get enough time to study how to do it before the show. What I was able to do yesterday that I found was really cool. I think I need to let's add a dome light, shall we?
It's always good to have a dome light.
Or you know what? Yeah.
I don't think you want a dome light.
I don't. I think what I actually want is to go real quick back into a standard render because I'm insane. Because I'm not rendering this right now. I'm just watching the simulation happen because it's fun. I created an area light last time, which lit the smoke for me nicely, but maybe I'm crazy and I don't know why it's so freaking black today. It might be because I don't know what I did. Yesterday I was able to get this extremely cool, like, green smoke plume look from this thing spinning around. I mean, you can see it there. It's very cool. But, like, the fact that you could, like, use this stuff for, like you were saying, for anything, dust kicking off of stuff. Like, this is just a very, very, very cool sequence to be able to.
If you had a major American car brand logo you wanted to drop onto some rocks and have dust poof out from underneath it, that would also be excellent for that.
One day,
or a minor one.
That.
Darren Frankovitz says change emission mode from black body to color ramp and load color channel in Pyrum volume and material. They think.
Okay, hold on. I did that once, so that's me trying to change. Okay, hang on. Let me see.
We've got the basic principle down. Just check out the magical pyro glowing effects tutorial. Because we've got so much other stuff I want to cover this episode. We're already halfway through. Yeah.
No, hold on. Real quick, but if I can get this thing to stop playing, for the love of God. Well, I might live here now.
Look at that. This is fan.
I'm my God.
Like, that can be our thumbnail, is that the arc that it created right there.
This is going to be playing on like repeat on my computer for the rest of my life. There, it stopped. Okay. What did Darren say? I'll figure it out. Hashi, what are you already tracking and doing all that stuff?
I'm getting some stuff set up. So, do you want to play this clip? It is saved in our.
Yeah, I've got it.
Excellent. So let's take a quick peek at what we are talking about now.
This is obviously. Oh, thank God for the subtitles. This is obviously from the brand new Dungeons and Dragons. Just kidding. This is from the one that came out in 2000?
2000 even.
And they decided to put this deleted scene on the DVD, even though there's literally nothing in it. But it's great because this is like, hey, you're learning VFX? Here's some plates. Try some stuff out.
Official plates, man.
So
Look at that. Tennis ball.
So we're going to put raptors in this,
Racquetball.
right?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it's great.
Or we put a majestic dragon that flies away, and then in this shot, a raptor swipes through and takes him out.
We're going to do all the work of the shot. Oh, it's finished. So we're going to do all the work of the actual, like, to actually finish the scene and then just have a raptor kill him?
Yes. With a gun.
Go for it. So what are you doing? You track some shots?
Yes. So I have, let me just save it again. You're welcome to copy over a version of it. It's called, in my After Effects folder, deleted scene. And in the comps folder, we have the whole scene broken up into different shots. So it looks like the things we have the cracking effect. So let's take a look at this. You're a film director, Seth Worley.
Wow, I am.
Now, let's see. Let me mute the sound on this. So obviously this is like a temp cut, and there's some stuff that's got to happen. So let's think about the overall. So the egg is cracking in this shot, right? So scale-wise, whatever happens, is this... So does this egg crack open, and then he's still looking at the spot where the egg was, right?
I think it starts to crack, and then on that wide shot, you want to see it like come fully. Like that's the big money shot of it opening up.
Now, when the egg opens, is it supposed to spark the growth of all the vegetation? Because it was all rocky a second ago.
That's just that's dragon magic.
I also have a question. Why are there tracking markers on that
perfectly
previous
matches
shot?
this one.
Wow, I hadn't even thought about that. So that clearly, they're probably adding the vegetation there. I would say maybe they did add that vegetation in that shot.
I think that this looks like physical, like greenery department came in and very, planted some.
Okay, then they probably shot. So they did. I actually imagine
this
they
was
shot
probably
these shots
slated for a reshoot.
I think they did them very far apart in time, and then I think that possibly they got rid of the vegetation so that the dragon could interact with the vegetation around it, so they weren't painting it out.
Oh, that's a good idea, because right here it would be very clear when you've got a dragon in there. And in fact, let's see. I think that I might
I think they're just two different locations and or times.
Have it saved in here.
I want to know why they have these tracking markers all over the rocks. Like the rocks themselves are tracking markers. Why would you put a marker on a rock?
Dude, this is back in the day when you needed as much data as possible. Like this is the Wild West.
There's so much data on those rocks.
Effects. I know.
They might have been feeding it to some some weird scanning.
I don't know. Todd, you still here? You can't possibly still be here. You have actual work, but I'd love to know because Todd, of course, worked on this original movie.
So for the continuity of this, we've got to think of what we've got to create for these things, and we have 1 hour to do what they couldn't do in 23 years. So
Jason Murphy says they think that the shot
trying.
that pans down was supposed to show the vegetation growing, by the way.
Yeah.
This one right here.
Oh yeah, that's why it's on the ground.
Oh, so like all the
Then-
vegetation starts
Then
growing,
they
and then
corrected themselves to say tilts down because they're not a jerk director that says pan for every kind of camera move.
Well, I am.
what they're all called pans,
So-
right?
They're all pans. Everything's a pan.
All pans.
I'm a pan.
Now,
You're a pan.
Now, just to keep our finger on the
We're all
pulse
pans, hey.
of VFX technology, I did try to see if AI video generation is up to snuff for what you just created in
The way
Pyro.
you could have just prefaced that was because I'm Hashi. I went ahead.
Well,
And-
I wanted to see if it could generate. This is supposed to be Seth with a fire sword.
and it is.
Let's see
That's
what
why
we
it
got.
is me with a
And-
fire sword.
Okay. I will say I'm not unimpressed.
You know what? Have you played with Runway's new thing?
I've not yet. This one was a little unsuccessful. This looks like troubled youth in office is about to like start some arson. Oh no!
Oh, wow. The whole left side.
I'm so
just
sorry.
kinda- heck of a diet.
You know what?
Yipes.
I'm gonna try this.
Thanos.
I'm gonna shoot a plate real quick, and then I'm gonna drop it into.
You all can guess how I'm trying to describe Seth Worley to the prompt because these are the three results I got. So Seth, I think that your sword was cooler. So
It
job's
was.
safe.
However, I am gonna try something with Runway. So Runway has this new thing
Don't. No.
where you drop you can put your demo asset, like your video that you shoot, your plate, and then you give a reference image for what you want it to look like. So, and then it will kind of merge them. So I tried this earlier. I did this, let me see. This is me taking motion capture of me walking and then giving it some concept art for my movie to see what it does. And it did
What?
this, which is not useful, but very fun.
That is very
That
fun.
is really cool.
So I am going to real quick film a video of myself. Quick time.
Whirlies and dragons.
And I'm just going to, I need a sword. I can use this paint
Obviously, you have
roller.
one lying around.
Yeah. You know what? My daughter, Ava, made these really cool lightsabers. Hang on. So she made these lightsabers
Awesome.
out of cardboard, which are very cool. I think I'm going to go with the blue one. And I just need a video of me doing this, right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move the mic out so it doesn't get confused. And I am so freaking cool. Okay. Whoa.
So cool.
So cool. That's what I'll name this file. Let's trim this down to its essence.
By the way, while he is trimming the essence, this is your weekly reminder. Weekly reminder to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button. Because number one, you want the algorithm to know that this is the kind of thing you like, but also since you do like this, you want to see more of it and make sure that you know when we're making it. All of those things will help that happen.
That is very true. We live in a world of algorithms, and anytime you can feed the system some data for us, we love it.
So
It helps us and it helps you. So it's really a win-win. Oh,
Right.
and it helps Google. So win-win-win. Three
Win-win.
wins.
Now we need to add an image, which means I probably need to go here and pull it from there. So let's take a picture.
I love the detail on the fire there.
Yeah,
For those
it's
of you who
really
want to
cool looking
recreate this
fire.
with Pyro and you want that really nice detail, you're going to have to lower your voxel count pretty low to get that
Really low.
really tight detail.
Really, really low. Okay.
I say this is your weekly reminder to like and subscribe, but we almost never say it. We
Yeah,
should say it more
I know.
often.
It is. We should say that more often.
And generate.
I mean,
So-
the
Generate.
quarter guys say it every 5 minutes, and they are very successful.
Subscribe, please. Subscribe, like, You don't have to smash the like button even.
No,
you can
press it
save
gently.
it for next time.
Also, scribe, write something. This is jokes.
Ooh. Because your comments sometimes turn into the content of our show. Even your live ones. Michael reads them out loud, and it often changes the direction of our show.
Justin Leduc says they would love to hit like under the assumption that they like it, but unfortunately they hate watch this every week.
Oh, well, if you hate watch it, but you want to get the opportunity to hate watch it, you do have to like it.
And subscribe it.
So you're engaged with it, and it lets you know.
This is the best jazz we've done while something is tracking or generating.
Scooby Doo.
What are you talking about?
Jazz. We're not really tracking, but it fits.
We need a drop for when the AI is doing our jobs for us. Probably involving South Park.
Why don't
It
we have?
definitely needs to be something that we didn't generate. So
Why don't we have an AI drop of any kind? That's really weird.
that is weird. What happened?
Is this it?
It'll just be
No.
it'll just be the Adobe Illustrator logo coming in.
That would be pretty good. Or Paul Simon and Chevy Chase on the trumpets, but it's because it looked like it's an AI, but it really said Al. That's a deep one. You gotta do some research to understand what. All right, so Seth, while that's generating, if you want to, I guess it is pretty darn close.
It's so close.
It'd be
We've
hard to-
jazzed
Well,
long
is
enough.
it done when it says 100%, or is
Yeah.
it like a fakey 100%? Okay.
No, it's done when it says 100%. The thing is, I think it's 90% means 75%, but it's almost there.
Mm-hmm. It's
Fun
like
fact:
I'm
if
playing
you're
the
an
animation
engineer,
of the load bar for 75% of it, and then hoping that I figure it out during the meantime.
if you're a UX
Jason
or UI
Murphy says
developer, by the
that
way,
if
you
you-
can create progress bars, by the way, to say whatever you want them to say. Fun fact.
That's
you
true.
don't know.
Universe Progresso is perfect for making progress bars of any color you like. Figure Chill Weather is asking who decided progress bars are always blue. Figure Chill Weather, get Universe Progresso into your scene, and you can make progress bars pink, green, black,
This
or
one
even
is
silver.
purple. This one's purple though.
Even silver?
And Jason Murphy says if you hit like on all the places that this is streaming, all 6 places that we're currently streaming, it will change it to a cool hate icon. So give that a try. Go hit like on all
And-
6 places.
And the world
It's like
explodes.
animated and everything. It's really cool.
And the world explodes. It's true. Oh, there we go.
Whoa.
That's what it won't friggin' let me.
All right. So you may
The
have
green
already
fire
seen-
is good.
Yeah, this made me look like I really look in real life.
It's kind
That's
of
really,
frustrating.
really impressive.
So that's fun. I like it didn't light. Oh, it lit my office on fire. I guess that is going on. In the actual,
That would happen. Don't use a fire sword indoors unless you're in a very stone
This
is
so
kind of
cool.
a situation.
This is like if Seth and Shrek. Oh yeah, Best also mentions Shrek had a yeah. There's like an ogred out Seth.
man,
Ogred out Seth. It's one of the best Seths.
I think that's the season I'm in, to be honest. But so I'm about to do what Darren told me to do and try this stuff. But you got something fun over there, Hush.
Yeah, so I'm just going to start with this first shot because we need this. We've got he's approaching the egg here, and then I think the close-up of it looks like this, where it's cracking. And then we kind of pull out like this. So this first shot gives me a good idea of roughly what the shape of this egg is. It's kind of, reptile egg shaped. I just made a sphere, and I'm adding a taper object to it. And I might actually move the taper object up to just kind of get the top bit of it here. I'm such a fan of doing these types of transformations. What do I want to do? I want to strength. What do you think? Is that too pointy? Is that too cone-headed?
Nah,
What was the shape?
pretty close.
I mean,
Little
We're in the
fatter.
realm. Little less,
Yeah, we're in the
little less,
realm.
but
Depends on how. I mean, the more tapered it is, the easier it will pass out of the lizard into the world.
As the
That's
old
true.
Abraham Lincoln once said.
As the Abraham Lincoln
Justin
said.
Leduc is asking, is the new D&D movie actually good? It's getting over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes for both audience and critics, so I'd say yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited. Plus, it's got Chris Pine in it. It's got Chris Pine in it, and who
does
doesn't?
have
We love Chris Pine. I wish he were mine. He's always on my mind, Chris Pine. Have you, baby?
Can't get enough.
All right, so I quickly clicked here and just said current state to object, so I could have the egg already ready to go. I'm going to set it right there, so it's kind of sitting on the ground. I'm going to add a little ground plane like this. This ground plane should be a little bit bigger, and I'm going to add a bullet tag to it, a collider body tag to it. Then I'm going to go to my sphere here, which I don't remember how many. I did it pretty low poly, like this. I should have done a different type of geometry, whatever. So let's go to the sphere object, and actually no, let's go to MoGraph Voronoi fracture, and we're going to drag the sphere into here. And now we have a lovely preview of a cracked up egg, which is pretty cool. So the cracks are being generated by a little pattern that is here under the, where is it, sources, point generator right here. So I can generate more points if I would like. Oops. Scroll down. Right now it's 20. I'm going to make like this many, however many that is, 529. And I'm also going to dive into here and check hollow object. I want it to be a hollow object that is a hull only because it's an egg. And let's try making it 1 centimeter thick. I don't entirely know what that thickness level is for this. We're at 50 centimeters big. Is that going to be too thin?
Oh, I do not think a 1 centimeter will be too thin. I think it dry. I don't think. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. Well, we'll see what happens when it falls.
Because I can leave it nice like this, an editable thing, and then just go over to the Voronoi fracture, and then I'll go to bullet tags, and I'm going to do rigid body here. And if I play this, I think this will be funny. If I just play it without doing anything. Oh, we're done. We're done with the sequence.
It's done.
It just walks up to it, and then it
the
goes,
egg has cracked.
Oh, that's so terrible. So what we can do in here is obviously all that stuff started cracking right away. But one thing that I can do is I can go over to the dynamic properties here, and I can say, instead of triggering immediately, let's trigger on collision. And we're actually going to add an invisible dragon that's literally trying to get out of here, which will be really cool. In the Voronoi fracture, I'm going to go into my, just for the preview right now, I don't want the colored preview. I want it to be just the same like this. So I'm unchecking colorized fragments there. And now you can sort of see, if I press play, it's just going to sit there and not really do anything. Now I'm going to add what should we use as our dragon? We'll just use a little capsule, because capsules are awesome. They've just been added to Cinema 4D. Everyone's talking about them. I don't know what they are aside from this capsule right here. I'm pretty sure that's the only implication of the word capsule.
Just Hit Play is very objecting to being a dragon and very much wants it to be a raptor. And Justin
What is a raptor?
Says Chris Pine, more like Chris Fine. Am I right, guys?
We love Chris Pine.
Certified fresh. All right. I don't even remember what I was doing. Oh, yeah. I was going to make this into a collider body also. And then look at this. I can put this little weeble wobble inside the egg. Just like that. This is how babies are made. And
yes. When the weeble wobble goes inside the egg.
But they don't fall down. So we're going to... I'm just going to take the capsule here. I'm going to go to frame... I don't know how long this animation should be. I'm going to add... I guess I could look, right? It is right here on the screen. So there's this wide shot, and this one right here is 100 and... what? Let me zero this out. It is a nice 30 frame per second capture, because that's my favorite. 300 frames. So we've got actually a good while. So let's put in like 315, so we have a teeny bit of a handle. And let's take this capsule, and it's, keyframed right here in the middle. And now I'm going to go 100 frames forward and move it down a little bit, move it to the side a little bit. You'll see that I have the automatic keyframing on right there. And then I'm going to rotate it to kind of a weird, like not very symmetrical angle like this. And just for funsies, I won't want to see this in the end, so I can click right here to hide it. And now if I go back to 0, since it has a collision tag on it, and since these are other objects, watch this. Jink, 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 jink. Look at that. Life finds a way.
That's so fun.
That was pretty cool, actually. So this is really fun. If you were doing something more detailed and you really wanted to get into it, one of the other things you can do is you could go to this sphere here. Let me just uncheck the Voronoi fracture for a second. And you could go to the paint tool right here. Let's check this out. Wait, no. Where's my paint? Paint tool right here. So if I wanted to paint on the sphere, I could do this. Look at this. I'm just going to paint a little shape that I like. Make the brush a little bit tinier, maybe a little thing like that. Let's undo some of this. So you see I've painted this little shape right here. And if I want, I can jump into the Voronoi fracture. And now that there is this weight tag on it, I can go down to here, and in the connectors. Wait, is it connectors or geometry glue? I feel like these are slightly different words than I remembered using. Is it connectors that I want to drag this into?
I don't know what you're trying to do, so I don't know.
Is it an effect? I wanted
Geometry glue is where it sticks some of the chunks together so they're not so Voronoi fracture looking.
enable geometry glue, and you use the map.
I mean, turn it on if you can see what it's doing. Like,
oh yeah, it is on. I swear there was sources, point generator. Oh my goodness, this is in. I think that I have this in the. Is it a MoGraph? Is it the weight map? I didn't feel.
What are you trying to do?
I want to make it so if you just dropped this egg without having this capsule object, you can use this weight map to say which ones will crack apart more easily. And I don't know why I'm not.
Yeah, you would probably want to put the connector object, but you might want to reverse the map. Like you can get very detailed with it. Oh, I do want to say. Dan Frankovitz says if you turn on colorized fragments, that'll help you see what the geometry glue is doing. And Adam Forbes says to the whole stream that VFX and Chill logo constantly animating is super annoying, Seth.
Oh, I can fix it.
Dude, can you wait? Thank you.
That's much better.
I can fix it. Is that better?
That's just
Okay, great. Hashi, just continue doing what you were doing.
Not peeling on and off anymore.
Hashi, so what are you doing with the Voronoi fracture? Keep walking me through it.
Yeah, cool.
I totally agree. I think that was the right thing to do, Hash.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, for real though, Hush. Keep walking me through what you're doing.
All right. So what I thought I was doing was I really thought that I could drag a selection in here and use it as a weight map for this. And now I'm mad that I don't remember what I was doing.
Why? Did something distract you?
I know. I'm so mad that I can't figure it out. I swear it used to be just as easy as like maps in the Voronoi fracture thing.
Story of my life.
I'm mad. I don't like it. Don't like it.
I mean,
whatever.
You would use if I'm understanding what you're wanting to do, you would use it in the connectors between the pieces to say the connectors are strong here and weak here.
I guess that makes sense. So if I did connectors and I said create a fixed connector, the breaking. Okay.
Yes.
Dang it. There we go. All right. So now I could drag this. No. Breaking weight. I swear this is supposed to be a map. Use connector. Wait. Use a.
Hey, Michael.
You know what? I don't care. I'm losing sight of it. We're already halfway into this visual effects shot. It's been waiting 23 years. I can't.
Because they've been working on it since then. Hey, Michael, real quick, while Hashi crumbles like the egg, can you tell me what does?
Ooh,
yeah, I'm figuring it out. What is object fidelity in the new pyro emitter tag? Do you know?
I will know in a second.
I think it's how well it sticks to the mesh that it's generating from.
How well it sticks, or how much?
Like
it
how,
generates?
like the resolution of how. Darren can confirm, but that's
Well, like
what it was.
basically what I'm getting at is if I wanted less pyro coming off like this, like I wanted a thinner amount of fire coming, could I turn down the object fidelity, or what would I do to make that happen?
Wait, a thinner fire? Wait.
Well, like, okay, so check out this fine clip. See, the fire there is really thin and wispy, and it's like it's not just like engulfed all over the sword.
Oh, yeah. If you want it to be kind of... Oh, this is the new feature I was just talking about. You want to put Maxon noise driving the emission of your fire. So you want to put an animated noise on your pyro tag. Oh crap, where is it? No, on your pyro tag. It's in the pyro tag somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
You've already got the pyro tag,
right
and it is under...
It's right here.
Yep, right there. Yeah, so you're going to want to fuss with that. Like crank the scale up and the contrast up, and maybe low clip, high clip, because that'll you want the scale even larger, and you want to make sure that's animating.
Larger, like 2,000 larger.
And then turn the animation speed up. Well, play it first so you can see what the shape looks like, and then turn the animation speed up.
All right.
It's probably too big. 2,000. Try going down to like 700, and maybe pick a different noise type. Like just do like a cell. Just do cell Voronoi type of noise. Cell, just a cell.
So I couldn't figure out what the first word you said was. I was like, who's Saul Vernoid? Is that the guy's name?
And then,
interesting.
So if you then have it animated, I was just picking that one so you could easily see kind of roughly what it looked like.
Yeah,
but if you have it animate, then you'll have fire kind of in some places and not others. You don't need a very fast animation speed. You could do like 1. But I would try Luca is one of my favorite noises.
Luca.
But that lets it birth fire in different places. Luca, you can probably scale up significantly. Darren Frankovitz says thinner would be you want lower density and lower temperature, and you probably also want to increase dissipation.
Increase dissipation. I will. That is right. Where did I say? Was that in here or is that up here? It's here. So increase dissipation. Wow, which one do I increase, Darren? Let's increase.
Maybe we should have had Darren on the show.
Probably a few different ones.
Yeah, let's just turn them all up. Why don't we? Doop, doop.
Well, because they're dissipating different things, and the different things have different impacts on the fire simulation.
Oh, they dissipated it too much. Let's go back and. So turning up relative density dissipation gives me this, which it's definitely too much.
All right. While you play with that, I've unfortunately I tried turning up something too high and might have slightly crashed this project.
And you hadn't saved it, had you?
This time I will save it. I just forgot to save it
Oh,
because
no,
I don't.
buddy.
I like to work dangerously. It's like without a net, you know. But it was a bad idea.
It's really smart to always do that.
Frigby Chillweather says the noise is Luca. It lives on the second floor. And then they second guess themselves, saying they're not sure if anyone will get that reference. Dan Frankovitz says you want to bump up the density and temp relative and go up to like 17%. That's a very specific number.
In temp, relative temp dissipation,
And relative density dissipation, and up to like 17%. Something in the vicinity of 17. So I'd say like do 16.5 just to spite him. Just kidding.
Where did
I did all your instructions if you were paying attention.
All right, I did like the reference that was mentioned just a second ago, and I'm only bringing this up because I may not actually really do this, but I did generate some of this the other day. Let's see how this turns out. I forgot that I'm not sharing sound. Or am I sharing sound?
I don't know. I don't think you are.
There's a raptor in the bushes, and she's keeping me distracted. Then before I even know it, to sneak up from the sides, clever girl.
Finally.
So, finally, the long lost Susanna Vega verse.
Ooh,
Anyway.
that's a better mesh. That's a better mesh, Hosh, to start
It
with
is.
for sure.
So
but
when
I would say even. Oh, never mind. You know what? Go with it. Go with it.
I mean, I guess I could leave it editable, right? To begin with. So I made it a hexahedron with 33 segments, like a maniac. What the heck? Okay, let's put it up here.
I was wondering, icosahedron might be better because then you get more triangular breaks, which seems more shell-like to me.
That sounds good, and we'll leave it in this. All right. So what we're talking about there is, let's see. Let me go a little bit higher here.
If you press NB on your keyboard, you'll see the lines you're making.
So look at this. So these are the kind of different ways you could create one of these. So this is a great idea, Michael.
Thank you.
So just the beginning mesh is more ready to break when we put it through the Voronoi process. Wait, what filter do I want? What do I want to just to go back to? Oh, NA. All right. So egg. Sorry we lost it, everyone. So let's go to our egg, our object, since it's a thing.
We counted our chickens.
We did.
Before they hatched.
That's really good.
Frigby Chillweather says that Noseman loves the icosahedron and is the only person who can pronounce it correctly because Noseman is Greek. And icosahedron is a Greek word. Brian Smith is asking if surface thickness reduction might help you, Seth, I believe.
Oh, I was wondering that too. That was the next thing I was going to ask about working from object fidelity and then to that. This is actually looking kind of cool. Let me turn down surface thickness.
The interesting with Pyro is you can have it emit from the surface or from the volume of the object. And I'm not sure which one you're doing, Seth, but I would say probably want the surface.
Yeah, because that's what it looks like in the clip.
Yeah. And Cyril Hartman says icosahedron is a D20, so it's on theme. Nice.
Oh, good point. Well done. Well done. Who was that?
Cyril Hartman.
Well done.
Cyril, I don't think we've ever seen you in the chat before. Hello, it's nice to see you today.
Welcome.
Welcome.
This is
Also,
what we
hello,
do.
hello, Enya Wedblack, Emilowski, Sirius Tuber. It's nice to see everyone in the chat today.
We
Say
have a
hi.
serious
if you're
tuber in here?
Yeah, we have a serious tuber. Folks, and you know what? Also, let us know where you're watching from. I know we've got some folks from around the world. We have someone from, I think, Uganda was here earlier. I didn't see anywhere else. Let us know where you're from so we can say hi to you.
Whoops. My goodness, this used to be the only thing I could do with physics in Cinema 4D, and I've just not done it for so long. So, oh my gosh, we're finally back to where we were a while ago. I'm going to trigger this Voronoi fracture on collision. I'm going to have this little capsule right here. Let's add a keyframe to it, and then over, let's see, 315-ish frames by frame 100, I'll have it have rotated. Actually, I'll have it rotate out like that, and then move up. Something
I think the camera move is going from up to from top to bottom while it's cracking. Because we're seeing it cracking, and then we go to the ground to see the plant start growing. So it starts. You want to start at the top and go to the bottom. Let's see. We've got Any Wet Black is from Detroit. Red Plaid Films from Dallas. Kazakhstan is Switzerland. Kenya from Dennis Thyru. Jason Murphy's watching from the couch. Fausto Gonzalez from the Dominican Republic. Prasant Damai from India. Brian Smith from Seattle. And Pippi Pop from the heart of America. Every city claims to be the heart of America, so anyone's guess where Pippi Pop is from.
It would be really good to know if America ever has to go to the doctor.
I know where the Bible Belt is. It's wherever I'm from. It says everyone.
Well, that's where both of us are.
Coast.
All right, so I've got this simulation. Interesting enough.
The heart of America.
So check it out. So here's it falling apart like that. I guess it should have more of the top falling away too.
That's an aggressive crack.
This is, yeah.
I think you need to make the connectors really strong so it just kind of cracks a little bit instead of shattering pieces everywhere at first.
That is what I'm going to do. So check this out. Now we can finally save. First of all, one of the things that I think Darren had mentioned earlier was in the Voronoi fracture, if you did enable geometry glue while it's colored in like that, and you did like a cluster style, look at this. It makes several clusters of these points. And so I think that if I were to play it, whoops. That is so aggressive. I thought it was aggressive because I was like skipping frames of the simulation, but no, that's a lot. Oh, it's also because I probably made the Voronoi too thick. So let me go to the object here, turn it back to 1.2 centimeters, because the more friction they have between them when they're getting slightly pushed. Whoa! Look at that.
Right into the camera. Excellent.
That's pretty cool. All right. Okay, this is too much geometry glue.
We've got a couple of folks from Los Angeles in the chat. Mike Gaines locked to their work desk chair.
Mike Gaines.
Hightour is from Brazil. I dated someone from Brazil once. It was delightful. Prasant is asking which software is best for visual effects. Whichever one you use to get the shot done is the correct one. You can use there's a bunch out there. It depends on what your focus is. Like if you're doing compositing of people on green screen, you're not going to want to use, Maya, because that's not useful for that. You'd want to use After Effects or Nuke or Fusion or Autograph. If you're wanting to build a giant simulation, you'd probably want to use Cinema 4D or Houdini. If you were wanting to do modeling, Cinema 4D, or there's so many different tools out there. It just really depends on what you're after. If you're looking for just all around general stuff, my workflow is Cinema 4D and After Effects, because they both can do like a little bit of everything, and I tend to do a little bit of everything. I did VFX work not too long ago on a Disney show, and I used Trapcode Particular for the particle effects, and After Effects with Optical Glow and some other Red Giant tools to get the job done, and it worked just fine.
Way to go.
I mean, obviously, if you're going to work on a Disney show, you need sparkles.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I feel like we're getting close to Easter, so breaking apart pastel color.
This is pretty good. Here we go.
Seasonally appropriate.
See, like it would be a toy normally, but because of the like food restriction laws, it's actually just a big like plastic pellet that you then open up and get your toy out of it.
Bill Hood is asking, what is the difference in glue types for geometry glue? Croxy says hello from Denmark. Frigby Chillweather says the artist is important, not the tool.
That's right. I'm important.
All right. Whoa, look at that. Zoom. Okay, so what's happening now is I checked some things in the soft body, which I'm going to get rid of. I would like... So here's what I want. I like that the glue is making these smaller sections, but I somehow then want these things to fall more apart. So I don't remember how to do that. Sorry, everyone.
Sorry.
I guess I can. That's a very dumb way I can do that.
I'll tell you, the different glue types are just basically how it clumps your fracture objects together. So you've got all your little fraction clumps that you've... Now, keep in mind, you can make your fracture pieces happen differently too. You don't have to use point distribution like what Hashi's using. You can use all kinds of things to tell it where to make the fractures. But then you can also tell the glue how to glue things together. So you can use fall off type, which lets you say, I want it to be much larger chunks here, and then to fade to smaller across the distance. You can set just basic clusters in general. Like it's just a way of telling you how you want the clumping to happen.
Glue
and
rest.
Jason Murphy says they just did 150 visual effects shots for a feature film that's in theaters starting today, all in After Effects. So
well done.
What's the movie?
And Red Plaid Films, I am not telling you what Disney show I worked on. It was a Christmas one, and it is on Disney Plus right now.
Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special?
I did not work on the Guardians of the Galaxy. I would so be talking about that in like coded ways. No, it was just it was fun. It was nuts.
Oh wait, I think I know. You told us.
Yeah, I did tell you. Red Giant suites do not work in Nuke. Red Giant suites work in, well, depends on which suite you're talking about. After Effects, all of them work in After Effects. Premiere Pro, for some of them, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, Avid Media Composer. But for the visual effects stuff, it's just After Effects.
All right, I'm going to solo my capsule here, and then I'm going to go to point mode for a second, because I'm going to do some very silly stuff. I know that we're totally running down the clock right now. I thought I would just do this like a really dumb Brunei fracture and just move on, but I didn't. So what am I doing? I'm just grabbing my little mesh brush, like when we were creating those those blend shapes earlier. And I'm just going over to this guy, and I'm going to crumple it up. I know I could use a deformer or something like that, but I sometimes
Frosty the Beer Man's asking, can you keyframe the Voronoi fracture? You can keyframe the points that are causing the fractures to happen. Like, so if you have like a texture source for the fracturing, you could keyframe that. But I think you're asking more about the dynamics. And yes, you could drive the dynamics. Like in his case, he's wanting it to crack certainly, and he's using the thing bumping around inside to make the cracks happen. But you could also fire off the dynamics by like using fields and other things like that. President Ice, what's the most responsible thing for realistic rendering? Redshift is the most widely used photorealistic renderer. But for compositing, again, it's more about the artist than the tools. I would use Supercomp for photorealistic comping just because it's the fastest way to get the job done, and I'm usually on tight deadlines. So I would say Supercomp. It's like a node-based compositor, but inside of After Effects and without you having to fuss with the nodes. So it has all that power without you having to fuss with it. It's so fast. Hashi, speaking of Supercomp, I think this would be a good time to take a quick break and show off your Dragon Supercomp thing.
Oh,
because it demonstrates how fast Supercomp is at getting something from looking terrible to looking awesome in just like a couple of clicks.
All right, that sounds good. I'm just going to quickly import that, and then I'm going to hide this. And let's close this project for a second. I don't need to save anything. And hopefully it's right here somewhere. Nope, it's not. No help from the recent files. March release. All right, everybody. So here we go. Let me demonstrate this kind of coolness right here. Now, if you were around for our Ask the Trainer episode yesterday, you've seen this demo. But here I have a very, very good comp of a dragon flying in front of the sunset. And you can see it is made up of this hyper realistic see, I could have earned that in 99 or something like that. So I've got these three elements, and they look ridiculous. And then I have one more, which is actually pretty important on top, called fractal noise. It's my favorite thing you can make in After Effects. It's just some fractal noise, some swirlies, some
fractal noise is probably one of my most used effects.
It really is. So, but what's cool about these 4 layers is that if I grab them all and then go to Effect, RGB Effects, Supercomp, we have added some new features to Supercomp. So I could describe what I'm doing, but I'd actually rather just show you how fast this can come together. So I'm going to bring in all of my layers to Supercomp. Here I can start adding different effects just by kind of going to each, adding a little icon, badge style effect, adding them into here and making really cool custom looks. I'm kind of yellowing up this, oranging up this sun to make it a little bit more cool like that.
Seth, can you scoot us to the other side, please? We need to be out of the way of Hashi's layers.
Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, nice. And then let's see. Let's go to the dragon here. Let's find a good frame where it's kind of in front. And look at this already without doing anything. Because I added glow to this thing, it knows that it's supposed to glow around this object in front of it, which is amazing. And this dragon, I could actually go to the color correction, and it'll take whatever is behind the alpha and use that to color correct itself. So I'm going to try to find a spot where it has its wings up above some of those darker areas, just to see the darkest areas that it can be touching. But if I press match background right now, it's going to make it pretty hazy. It's going to make it almost like this level hill hazy. And there is actually a fix for that. You can go to the black point and white point adjustments in match background and say, I just want to match the black point like 20% and the white point 23%, and then click match background. And you'll see it just tinted it up a little bit. And then on top of that, it's a colorista interface. So I could bring the mids down and give it more of a silhouette feel like that. And now I really like the general composition and what's going on here. But now I want to make it even betterer. So up top, that fractal noise we were talking about, you can add it, but normally you can't do anything with something like this. But now we have added a new layer type called adjustment layer. And what is really cool about adjustment layers is they come in basically as clear. And using the alpha, you can apply things like a color correction. So for example, this whole thing has alpha on it. So if I wanted to, I can color correct this whole shot. Look how cool it looks now.
No.
So basically you can do whatever kind of color correction you want because it's using the alpha as this. And for example, if this fractal noise layer had a mask on it like this, then you can see that now you can make color correction masks or region tools, which is great.
And this would be for making shadows and stuff.
Exactly.
Not for making it yellow.
Not for this. So we'll get rid of that badge. But what I do want in here is an effect that is really nice to have standalone, which is heat blur. Now, when I enable heat blur, the magic starts happening. It's blurring this image based on the fractal noise pattern. And so you get this really cool Apocalypse Now kind of effect. And I can actually go up to here and adjust the amount of blur. And I can add contrast to the texture. So you're getting really high blur in some regions and less in others. And also you can displace with that same map. So if I start turning up the displacement, you're going to start to see some really cool heat effects. Woo, I turned it up a lot. Let's turn it down to just a nice subtle amount where you're starting to see the kind of heat waves appearing. And you can soften this right here.
And you can spread the chroma, all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, check this out. Chromatic spread. Let me see if I can show you. So look at that. You can make like a glassy, cool effect. So here's like super like gasoline hot level of chromatic separation. But if you're not going for that, if you're going for something a little bit more subtle and realistic, you can just tone this down. I'll turn the spread down. I'll tone the displacement to a smaller number, just a little bit. So it just disrupts the frame and adds some cool stuff to it. And look like what Supercomp has done now with our several layers. And in
I
fact,
kind of want to put a little bit of haze or light wrap on the dragon too, just to make it sit in there a little bit better.
As well. In fact, since I have this top layer right here, I'm just going to throw a color correction node on here. It has a full alpha, so I can just darken this up more like a dragon heart scene. And now in here, let's go and add let's add two things. I want to add some regular light wrap, which we can turn up the size on. And I can see that it's added a nice haze everywhere. You can actually add multiple light wraps, which is kind of cool. So you can add another one that is doing highlights only and will eat into like the face over here and can be smaller. So you can see it's doing the brights like that. If you exaggerate it, I'm going to turn it back down. Just get a little bit like that. And do I want volume fog or haze? Let's try haze. And let's add the shadow amount and turn that up. You can see that's adding kind of a soft matte inside there. And now like light and color are wrapping around everywhere in here, which is really cool. You could even add, volume fog if you wanted to adjust the center over here or link it to a null or something like that. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous, but what I like about this blur is that you can also turn up the diffusion on it. So you actually get the sort of the effect of volumetric rays. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything is dialed up to like 400% in here. I would do a lot less if I wanted this to, so what do you think of this? It's nice, right?
Yeah.
Well, go back and remind us what it looked like before Supercomp.
Oh yeah, let's just take a quick peek at our input. Input, output.
It looks so much better.
Isn't that crazy? And I love adjustment layers that use the alpha because if I wanted to, I can throw in like a new solid and add a little vignette kind of thing. I'll just feather this, make it a subtract mask, and then I can add it to here. Oh, look at that. That actually looks kind of cool by itself. But let me make it an adjustment layer, and then I can get the same thing by going into the color correction, toning down the mids. That'll be kind of nice. And then if I add some heat blur to this, but with no displacement, I can blur out the edges to like a higher degree. Oh, actually, no, it won't work because this is a black solid. Let me generate fill, and then I can fill it in with white, which will turn up the blur. Now we've got a dragon and someone with cataracts trying to do this or something. I don't know. But look at this. This is like the dream sequence where you're like, when I was rescued as a child, I remember a single dragon that showed mercy to my mother. And so,
yeah, this is like a memory hazy or like wizard sight kind of look.
Yeah. So anyway, just again, before, after, like there's so much you can do with Supercomp. It's a lot of fun.
Also, Hashi, I don't want to miss out on your little trick for making that cool intro that copied the Dungeons and Dragons. I think you had a really cool trick on the ampersand, I believe, in your intro you made.
Thank you. Let me.
I don't think we've watched that yet
what
on
do
the
we
show.
got here?
We haven't watched it on the show yet. You want to play it first and then?
Oh, play it. Play it, man, while I find it.
Let me import renders. Was it called anything?
It's like under renders. It's like whatever D&D title or something like that.
Would it be the one labeled promo?
Sure, do that one.
And here we are. That was very cool.
Thank you very much. So here's our little D&D logo looking thing.
Is that an anamorphic lens flare?
What? Why would I use that on a show that was coming out this day?
Just
Seriously,
to be clear,
the anamorphic real lens flares look gorgeous.
For reference, here's the actual lyric title from the trailer.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's the one from the trailer.
Nicely done.
I tried to not like just. It's funny because I'll look at what it generally looks like, and then I'll jump over and I'll do my own version of it, and I start moving it toward my taste and never look back at the original until the end, where I'm like, oh, they did that.
Me too. I guess I start leaning into my shortcomings, like areas where like I'm not very good, so I would usually lean it toward this place that has become my taste or whatever. But this is great. This is probably one of the more accurate ones we've done, I think.
Mm-hmm. Like looking at them back to back like that, which again, you should do if you're trying to mimic. I did not. But also,
what's going on over there?
I've got some
cubes,
adorable jelly cubes. This was just something fun in the course of playing with. Really, you should check out the Ask the Trainer special on all the new stuff that's in cinema, just because I am bad at cinema, and these look pretty cool, I think. So what was I going to do? I was going to show you this fun trick. So here is, where is the actual comp? So here's the comp. Let's find a cool looking frame. There we go. So there's the logo. Now, the dragon ampersand I was worried about because I thought maybe I'll have to model it or I'll have to find someone who has that or something. And online, I was able to find a nice PNG of it. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I did. Let's find wherever that PNG ended up. Ampersand. Dragon ampersand. Okay. So let's put this in its own comp. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. 1270 by 720. I don't know why I picked those numbers. Excuse me. All right. So if I have this little dragon here, it's, it can be a 3D layer, and it has some implied depth, but not much. And so I decided to do this, which I thought was kind of clever. I went over to this layer, which is a 3D layer, and then I added some fractal noise to it, because fractal noise is the best. So let's go to noise, fractal noise, like this. And doing this and changing the blending mode to overlay, that's a good way to add like detail to something that didn't have a lot of detail before. But I'm actually not using it for this specific effect. I am using it for something slightly different. I want to use this as if it's sort of mimicking what's being reflected in these letters. And this doesn't look great, just shifting it back and forth, but we can make it look great, which is cool. So I'm going to add some keyframes to this offset turbulence, so it just slides over like that. And then I'm going to, let's add some CC toner while we're at it, just a little bit of, that whole comp is very kind of orangey and stuff. Oh, God, this is revolting. What have I done? Okay, just a little bit of that, and let's turn down let's turn up the blend with original.
What have I done?
just wanted a little bit of this.
As you're teaching people how to do things, this is revolting. What have I done? It's such a funny thing to say.
Right, so just a little bit more color, and now that's moving across it. Still boring, but if we go into here and go to RGVFX chromatic displacement, it still looks like nothing happened. But if you then go to the displace amount, I can start turning this up, and you start getting this kind of effect. It's using the Luma to distort and displace these pieces. So say I had two copies of this. I'll put one on the bottom, and I'll delete the chromatic displacement, and one on top with the chromatic displacement on. As you can dial up the soften amount so you can have this look like liquid metal. And I'll pause on a frame here and show you that once I play and the reflection thing moves across it and it gets distorted by the chromatic displacement, it's just such a fun thing. I can turn up the displacement spread like this, and I kept it pretty sharp actually, and I'm turning down the chroma spread a bit and the displace spread down to more like a chromatic level of reflection. And so in combination with, I'll just make this a parent of this one. We'll add some position and rotation keyframes because I knew exactly what the motion was going to be. So you could start with something like this slightly rotated and then have it over time rotate around a little bit like that into place. And now somehow like combined with the chromatic displacement, you get this really cool fake chrome kind of effect. It looks for all the
world like it's 3D and it's super isn't.
Crazy. So, and you can turn up the displace amount even more. So yeah, here now you can get it to, what do I want to try? I want to use that. And I want to, let me try a negative value or maybe softening it. No. I just like seeing everything nicely distorted and displaced. It's very cool. So this is my trick for making something chromatic that wasn't chromatic before. So if you have like a company's logo and you need to do a quick thing, but you don't have the time to like dive into Illustrator and trace its paths and stuff like that, just do this. It's fun.
That is a cool trick. Seth, do you have anything to show us as we near the end of the show?
Just still making my way through fire.
Oh, that's looking so good.
Making my way through fire. Fighting dragons.
I don't like what I just made it do, but I don't know what I hit to make it do that. I mean, it's looking better than it was before. I definitely need to mess around with it. You know, the thing that, again, I think I was saying this off the show beforehand, drives me nuts about 3D that I have a really hard time with is the fact that my workflow, like in VFX work and any kind of design in general, is like so trial and error based, and working in 3D is so hard because like it takes forever to like spit out a render and see what you're doing actually looks like in motion. And especially for like stuff like physics or animation or movement. And so it's really, I find this process incredibly tedious and difficult and very unnatural for me.
I'm sorry, you say tedious and difficult, but you've made a kick-ass fire sword in an hour.
Yeah, like, but if we watch this like in real time, I guarantee you there'd be 1,000 problems, and it would have taken me a day to render it. And I don't know. I'm still getting my bearings in 3D. I still find it to be very frustrating with my weird mad scientist process of design, which is just groping around in the dark until I find a light switch.
Well, that's part of what makes Cinema 4D so good for 3D stuff, is because you can do that. Like this new Pyro system, that since it simulates on the GPU, you can actually get simulations and kick out like little temp checks on how it's looking without having to wait days for the simulation to happen.
Yeah, I have no idea how people did this before you had real-time rendering of any kind.
That's what those people back then were wizards. Now we can just fuss around until we get something that looks cool. I like what you've got going on here. That looks so good.
I don't know what I did to make it do this.
Well, the chat's loving it.
I kind of want to spin the sword
Dennis
again.
Thyru says that flame looks dope.
You look dope. Let me...
Hear that, Dennis? You look dope.
Is that my dad, Dennis? That'd be really funny.
Dennis, is your dad's last name Thyru?
No.
Tayru?
It can
Thyru?
be.
I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, Dennis. I'm so sorry if I'm not.
Watch this. I'm going to drop this sword into these spinning nulls again. That's...
Justin Leduc says, is Seth the kind of guy to pinch his nose before jumping in a pool? Because he sounds like it right now.
Excuse me. Yes, because I'm unnatural in this. All right.
Frosty the Beer Man says, not sure what happened today, but the showtime went by so fast. It really did. Like, I kept looking at the clock. And like, oh, crap, it's 30 minutes has gone by. It was just so much fun stuff to play here. And plus, Dungeons & Dragons and Chris Pine just, it just casts a spell over us all.
So yeah, now I'm wondering though if this noise. I don't like that the noise. I don't like that like the noise isn't changing as it's moving, which tells me I probably need to make the noise space global. Will that change it?
Yes, it will.
Global.
Yes.
Global. Yeah, there we go.
See, there you go. Before we go, like we're at the very last little bits. Mundus Productions is asking, do you guys have any tips on creative block? They want to create, but they never know what to make.
Oh my goodness. There's inspiration everywhere. Like right now, you can just look at the movies that are coming out this weekend, and that's sort of what we did. We knew that this movie was coming out, and if you look through that trailer, like I said, there were like 56 shots that were interesting, and you could either try to go mimic something until you realize, you know what, I'm going to veer off this path and start doing my own thing, which I think is a really cool and fun way to approach things. Is just, honestly, copying and I don't know where I was going with this train of thought, but
pasting.
I would say like look at sculptures, look at watches, look at like any kind of design in the world around you, and find something that inspires you. Look at Instagram, look at an art museum, or if you have something for you, pop
just
open
at
the
an
asset
art
browser,
museum. Stand outside the art museum and look at it. Do not go inside.
Go inside the art museum, look at the art. Go open up the asset browser, Cinema 4D. There's so many cool models and materials and stuff in there. Something is bound to spark an idea. The world is full of inspiration. So just open your eyes and look. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
That's beautiful.
Everywhere.
Chris Franos is saying that logo at the top looks very distracting. Just kidding. They said they wanted to catch the dance party again.
It looks
and I figured
distracting.
that was the only way to
Here,
bait you into putting it up.
I'll fix it for you, Verano. Well, that's our show this week. Thank you so much for watching. Hashi, you got anything you want to say before we go?
I want to try this real quick. Let's see if this works. If this works. Simulation. What am I looking for?
What?
And oh, come on. So close.
It works. That's what you were trying for. Well, everybody, thank you for watching the show. We'll see you next week. Good night.
The raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon